Hello everybody, this is Pi with srlounge.com. In this video we're going to be comparing the Canon EF 2470 f2.8L Mark I to the newly released Mark II lens. Canon basically stated that the new lens features much better optics than the Mark I version, which in turn provides better color, better contrast, more sharpness, and so forth. Now, from our point of view, it's a little bit of a shame that this lens does not come with image stabilization, especially now that we're dropping $2,300 on this lens, which is kind of crazy because for those of us that actually shoot video, we're still only left with the Tamron 2470, which has image stabilization. That's the only option there is. And so it's kind of a big slap in the face for those of us that are waiting for Canon to release a fast image stabilized 2470 lens. But no matter, that's neither here nor there. So let's just talk about, well, what are the differences between the two? So here we have a headshot of Jackie. Jackie is our studio manager extraordinaire for Linen Jersey Photography. She keeps everything together basically in this entire place. And we took this shot today with the exact same settings, exact same lighting setup on both lenses. So basically we just swapped out the lens real quick, took both shots, and then we had her wonderful husband come in and do the exact same thing. So here is her husband, Ryan. Two fabulous people. They're great looking people also, which makes it even better for photography because they're pleasing to look at. So let's do a little comparison here. On the left side, you're actually going to see the Mark II version of the lens, and on the right side, you can see the Mark I version. Let's talk about how this was shot for just 1 second. We basically shot this on the 2470 zoomed all the way in. That way we don't have any lens distortion, okay? So I want to make sure that we didn't have, whenever you're doing headshots, you want to make sure you don't have any lens distortion, which means that you want to be around 70 to 100 millimeters in focal length just to make sure that the lens isn't kind of distorting the shape of the head and so forth. 70 is good, 100 is even better. But we're kind of just going off of distance to subject and everything like that. And we're also testing this lens, which is why we had to use it. Now, as far as the lighting, we have a giant PLM. It's like a 6-foot PLM hanging right above Jackie's head and Ryan's head. And we have a reflector right underneath. Just this kind of nice little sandwich lighting, top and bottom, with it's creating a nice kind of open fill, almost like a really soft direct light kind of. But since it's coming from the top and bottom, it does create a nice little catch light, both in the top and the bottom of the eyes. We also have a light placed directly behind them, which is adding a little bit of light in kind of a circular graduation pattern onto our background. All right, so that's how it was shot. Now let's check out these two shots. So basically what we can see here with these two RAWs, these are unedited, untouched RAW files. So these are straight from the camera, and we can see basically that the Mark II version on the left does boast better contrast, better color, and you can even see a little bit of improved sharpness and detail from even this view versus the Mark I lens. Now when we zoom in, it's a little bit difficult to see over the eyes because over the eyes, this lens, it looks like it was, the focus was placed kind of right over the brow versus this one, it looks right on this right eye. So it kind of falls off going right to left on this side. So rather than compare the eyes, because we don't have a good adjustment, well, basically to compare the eyes, we had to compare this side to this side, and that's going to be not a very good comparison. So let's go down to the lips. The lips are basically right over the middle of the sharpness point, and it should be basically the peak sharpness on this Mark I version should be right here on the right side of the face on the lips, and you can see on the Mark II just how much additional detail we're capturing. Now for headshots that are close up like this, it might be a case of you're capturing a lot of detail, which you're going to need to do a little bit of retouch on because it's not going to be as soft, but that's great. I mean, you're capturing more detail, and that's really, in the end, that's what we want. Okay, so you can see a massive difference here, and also in the color and in the contrast. Look at how much more vibrant these colors are, and look at the skin tone compared to this lens. What's crazy is that these are the exact same settings, yet the lens has that much effect over the overall tone of the skin. All right, let's go on to this next one with Ryan. So let's zoom back out, and let's check out this one. All right, I'm gonna actually go lights out on this one just so we can kind of focus on the image only. I went lights out by hitting L, by the way. Okay, so this one is more accurate. So we got the focus right over basically the right eye on each lens. And you can see that the Mark I is still pretty sharp, but it kind of pales in comparison to the Mark II. The Mark II is vastly sharper, and you can see better color, especially in his iris, around his skin, everything. All right, when we go down to, again, the mouth and kind of face area, we see a lot better detail on this image. And the funny thing is that this left side image was actually cropped in just a little bit, so it's actually a slightly wider shot than this right side image, and we still can see more detail on the left side basically, which is kind of huge. So we can also go up into the hair. Hair is a great place to check detail, and once again you can see how sharp and how much detail there is in the hair in the Mark II versus the Mark I. Overall, we notice the same thing in basically colors and hues. We see more contrast, better color over here on the Mark II version than on the Mark I. Now, let's go back into lights on mode by hitting L, and the decision of whether you purchase the Mark I versus the Mark II is really going to come down to budget. Both these lenses are great. The Mark II version is significantly better, and if you're doing video, you're going to really want the Mark II version because video is at a shot at a much lower resolution to begin with. So these differences in sharpness and color are going to be much more noticeable and kind of much better on video than they would be noticeable on kind of stills. With stills, you can always shoot them raw, and you can always, add in color and contrast and kind of fix all those things, add in sharpness. With video, you're not given that option because these cameras cannot shoot raw video. All right, so basically what you're shooting in camera is what you get, and you have much more limited options in post-production. So having the Mark II lens for video is going to give you vastly better video performance over the Mark I version of the lens. But overall, I have to say that I'm just a little bit disappointed with this update in the lack of features that it comes with. I'm very happy with the additional contrast, the additional sharpness, and the better optics, but I'm very disappointed in the fact that it doesn't have image stabilization. That's it for now. Hopefully this video has helped you to be able to see the difference between these two lenses. If you have any additional experience, comments, and so forth, be sure to place them in the comments below. We'll see you guys in the next video.